Good evening and welcome to a brand new series of Have I Got News For You, and as we're now over 10 years old, we can safely assume Gary Glitter won't be interested in watching us. In the news this week, in Leicester East, word spreads that Keith Vaz may be about to lose his seat. After the internet twin scandal, Judith Kilshaw appears in front of the cameras with her husband to deny allegations she's a witch. And as the nationwide cull continues, Agriculture Minister Nick Brown takes a relaxing break on a Texan ranch. On Ian Hislop's team is the famously aggressive news presenter and proud new father whose young son will shortly be saying his first words, although in fairness he has been trying to say them for the last 3 months, John Humphrys. And with Paul Merton tonight is a contemporary artist who once exhibited a small tent covered in the names of everyone she's ever slept with. She's now working on a marquee for Peter Stringfellow, Tracey Emin. Round one is our opening round, for those unfamiliar with the quiz show format. Ian and John, your burning issue.
That's vaccine.
That's the Cabinet arriving for a meeting on...
There's a notice saying don't come in.
And that's the next manifesto being dealt with the way they should have dealt with the last one. I think you'll find.
Looks like Burger King's main depot. The government, I think, has done a U-turn. Though by the time this goes out, they'll probably have done another one. They were going to vaccinate.
They were.
But they may have.
But that was only Nick Brown.
No, I think they're going to cull Nick Brown.
So are they going to vaccinate or not?
Well, who knows? I mean, they don't. They're going to guess. They've no idea what they're doing.
Well, Nick
Brown... I think they do. No, that's not entirely fair. No, I mean, they're trying to turn a fairly mild disease that doesn't actually kill anybody or anything into a full-blown crisis. And I think they've done a very good job.
They have.
I vaccinated cows myself, as a matter of fact. Yes, I have.
You have a dairy farm?
I had a dairy herd, yes. And what you have to do, you have to take the needle in a great bend, you go like that. And it hurts like hell if you don't get it quite right.
Yes, you're a pro-organic farmer, is that right?
I am a pro-organic farmer. Well, I would be if I were a farmer, but I'm not. But I would be if I were.
So is it true that you don't mind if people call you a beard and sandals tosser?
No, I'm offended by the beard and sandals bit.
Right.
Could I just state for the record, I didn't call him that.
You didn't?
No.
You called me everything else.
Yeah, but what I called you I couldn't possibly say on
television. No, you couldn't. No, it's a shame that, really. You said it on Radio 4. No, they cut that bit out, didn't they? Yeah.
Now, what bit was this?
have you been rude about John in the past?
No, he's an incredibly rude, arrogant person, actually.
Me?
Angus, yeah.
Well, that's not fair, especially coming from such a talented artist. I really think that... It occurred to me that if these tales about you earning £50,000 for about 30 seconds work one evening next month are true, Angus, if you saved it all up, you could afford to buy a sheet off Tracey Emin's bed. If you wanted a soiled sheet, it would cost you a lot more, of course. Because then it would be art.
If you want to hit him, Tracey, I'll hold on.
Can I just advise everyone, we have a man that makes his living out of being on the radio really early every morning. Now, most of us here have got better things to do first thing in the morning.
It's all right for you lying in bed, it's work.
But, every time she turns over to you, that's another 10 grand.
This is then the outbreak of foot and mouth disease, which may have caught your attention recently, unless you're a Labour minister, in which case you heard it here first. The Daily Mail cut straight to the heart of the story by putting this picture on the front page. The animal was rescued by a farmer's son and immediately christened Lucky, or as it will be by next week, Dead Lucky. Paul and Tracey, Your Royal Highness.
This is Losers of the Week. Sophie Wessex and Ed Wood. And there she's been duped by the News of the World, and this is the bloke that she was running the public relations company with. She showed a stunning lack of knowledge about public relations by telling somebody she only just met everything that she could.
And what did she allegedly say?
Well, it was a whole lot of stuff, wasn't there? She said
she said, I don't take cocaine, did she?
No, she said that Edward wasn't gay. It doesn't matter whether he's gay or not. The problem is he's a parasite.
It is amazing, that guy, Mazza Mahmood, because that's what he does.
Dresses up as a
He
sheikh.
dresses up as a sheikh. He's been doing it for about 10 years on News of the World. Yeah. If a sheikh comes around to any of your houses, that's who it is, it's him.
The story wasn't entirely truthfully reported, though, was it?
Well, no, the News of the World got this interview, which was obviously rather boring. She didn't say very much. So they didn't run it. But the story was leaked to the Mail on Sunday, who got all these terrifically good quotes.
Except that it was the wrong story.
Yeah, and all the quotes were made up. I mean, Max Clifford was involved.
Much better story than the original one.
Yeah, well, that's what Maxie does.
Yeah, but also, I think every time there's a story like this, I love them. I want more. I want more cocaine, more homosexual saunas. I want more of everything that they've got.
Is that a personal thing, or...?
We should perhaps make it clear that there wasn't a member of the royal family who was taking cocaine or going to homosexual...
I think it was. I say it was. I say the royal family all take cocaine. What's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen.
Oh, you're right. I think about it. The Queen, she's flying to Australia, she has all these meetings, she's up 24 hours doing her job, she gets off the plane, has got to meet all these, like, envoys.
Exactly.
What's she going to do?
She gets a piece of paper with her face on it, rolls it up and snorts it. That's what she does.
Right, OK. This is the Countess of Wessex, whose recent indiscretions have led to a row over the royal family's business interests. At a photo call last week, Sophie and Edward attempted a damage limitation exercise where, according to The Times, Sophie, looking relaxed in a light blue suit, showed her skills in her job by smiling at her husband. Tougher than it looks, this PR lark. Ian and John, headline news for you. May the form be with you.
This is the census, which I'm sure everybody has filled in already and sent back. The census asks you what religion you are. And there's a group of people on the internet who obviously haven't got a great deal to do, who sent out a message saying everybody must fill in the word religion and put Jedi. Because apparently if 10,000 people put the word Jedi on the census forms, then it becomes an official religion.
Is this Jedi from Star Wars?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That one, yeah.
I like the idea that you can put in your own religion, and I think Jedi's pretty good. It's got a very good central story. It's about redemption. There's the Dark Force. There's Luke, favoured son, the fallen angel. Luke takes... It's a terribly good religion. Yoda, prophet. I think people are being a bit sneery about it myself.
They are looking for specific bits of information, that's why they're sending out these censuses.
Which bits?
Yes, like the number of gay households. But they ask one question...
Can a house actually be gay?
God, what a reactionary attitude.
What's that, 2 up, 2 down? How does that work?
This is the 2001 census being delivered to households across Britain, which has upset many people with its redefinition of social status. Indeed, as the Daily Telegraph points out, army officers are now Class 1, pilots and policemen are now Class 3, whilst construction workers are now Class 7. It's feared that these new definitions may lead to an outbreak of bitter wrangling among members of village people. And finally, Paul and Tracey, your cryptic revolver reads, dating a redhead.
No, I think this is an archaeological question, I think. I think they've dug up some human remains recently.
A Neanderthal and red haired.
Yeah, that they may have been redheaded people.
Yes, and how old do they think the red-haired gene might therefore be?
50,000 years old.
About 40, I think, Paul.
Was it 40?
Yes, I think it was.
Well, 50 in a bad light.
Paul was nearer, actually, over 100,000 years old.
Oh, what do I win? Can I come back next week?
And what are the various traits, then, of Neanderthal men?
Heavy brows.
That's right.
Like getting their name in the paper?
Yeah.
I think I
Loads
can
of
see
vocabulary.
which way this is going.
Lots of money.
Short legs. Do you know what's really shocking? He's
What's
actually shorter than Ian.
I know.
How tall are you, Ian?
£150,000.
Angus looks taller because he's standing on his wallet.
Which redhead has been in the papers then this week?
Anne Robinson.
Yes.
That was almost a little song, that, wasn't it? Oh. It was quite nice. It was like that, yeah, it was good.
OK, who apart from Anne Robinson?
Robin Cook?
Robin Cook, yes, there was someone
Chris
else.
Evans.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. And why has he been in the news?
Well, they said...
He's married someone.
No, he hasn't married someone, because that's what he does, is he doesn't marry people.
Oh, sorry.
He goes out with people, and then the newspapers say he's going to marry them, and then he doesn't. And I've heard it said that this is all done for publicity purposes. I mean, that is a calumny, isn't it? Does anybody here believe that anybody would sink that low? To get up a young woman's hopes...
That was a very disappointing end to that sentence, wasn't it?
Yes. This is the Oxford Research Institute report revealing redheads to be directly descended from Neanderthal man. According to Dr. Rosalind Harding, despite the negative connotations, no one should take offence at this research, least of all gingers. The Express took the trouble to digest the research findings for its readers. Scientists claim that ginger hair has its origins in pre-Fred Flintstone times. So that'll be about 1959 then. So at the end of that round, the scores are like the number of healthy sheep left in the Cumbrian Valley, namely 4 each side. We've never been afraid of pioneering new adventurous formats, or indeed of ripping off other people's for our own personal gain, as illustrated by our next round, neatly entitled The Price Tag is Right. So, an array of enticing disasters, gaffes or government crises to identify. All our panel then have to do is guess the price of the clean-up cost. So, Ian and John, sit on down as we activate our costometer.
Ah, the great railway disaster. This was very, very expensive, an awful lot of billions of pounds, but worth, I have to say, every penny, because what the government did was, they said, we privatised the railways, Railtrack made a monumental cock-up of running the railways, the price of their share collapsed. So what the government did was take about £2 billion from us and give it to Railtrack so the price of the shares could go up again and the shareholders would be very happy. Now, I think that's very sensible and very entertaining, and they're going to make a movie out of it. They're going to call it The Great Train Robbery, and we should all go and see it to get our money's worth.
Are you at all angry about this, John?
On the contrary, I have a chauffeur, just like you.
Yes.
So how much does it cost? Well, the government have given them £1.5 billion.
About that.
It's actually 2 billion. Can you just
Tracey says it's 2 billion.
OK, so Paul and Tracey. Ian, John, you're going for...
Well, about that, only a little bit more. Well, for inflation.
Let's unveil the figure, and I'm going to have to disappoint you, because it's actually 600 million is the answer, being the estimated cost of track repairs and compensation to train companies since the Hatfield rail crash last October.
I'm just rather shocked by this picture, which seems to show a train moving.
Unlikely.
Paul and Tracey.
Well, floods, obviously.
Well spotted.
No, it could have looked like something different, though. It could have been something you go to, you know, you pay to see it.
Yeah. You get some people to come along and pay and watch those people in a boat.
Yeah, go in a boat. No,
come see the old man in a cap.
No, you sit in the boat.
We have seen the old man in a cap of Longleat. We say it's that.
Right, so you think it's some kind of water attraction in a theme park?
Yeah.
Yep. And it's to encourage us to go to the countryside and visit the Lake District or something.
Yeah. OK. Supposing I was to say it's nothing to do with theme parks.
Well, you'd be wrong. Because there's 2 of us, and there's 1 of you.
Right. OK. Your guess will be based on the admission to the theme park, then?
No, the admission that we don't actually know the answer.
But we would say, let's have a guess, let's say £15 or say £30 for a family ticket.
Yeah.
OK, Paul and Tracey say £30 for a family ticket.
Yeah.
Ian and John, any ideas?
We'd say about 100 billion, probably, wouldn't we, or something like that?
Based on what?
That's based on Longleat. I'd say about 100 billion, yeah.
Well, let's have a look at the answer. And it's 490 million, which means that Paul and Tracey are actually closer.
Yeah.
This is 490 million. That's what insurance companies say they've received claims for. As floods ravaged the southwest last October, farmers in Devon worked through the night rescuing their sheep. In retrospect, probably a weekend wasted. Ian and John.
That was the Sunday Mirror, wasn't it, deciding that it was very silly to wait for the court case actually to happen and come to and for the jury to decide whether anybody was guilty or not. They just save all that trouble and do it for them. The only problem with it was that they'd already spent about 10 million quid on the trial, and when the judge said it couldn't now go ahead, they're going to have to do it all over again. So we're going to go for about 10 million.
Right.
Give or take.
Right, 10 million.
Give or take.
OK, that's good. Good yes. Paul and Tracey?
Well, he did say 10 million in the papers, so that would lead me to suggest that John is right.
Yeah, but
Well, if it's in the papers, it'll be wrong.
All right, then, we say £85.
Yeah, so the... well, I guess we better show you what the actual answer is. One says £85, one says 10 million, and it is, in fact, 8.
Well, 8,
Oh,
so we were
well done,
close, we said
John.
8. We've got 8 in the figure.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that, Tracey, to be honest.
It's difficult to believe they could make such a blunder as this, isn't
What,
it? Just...
the editor of a Sunday tabloid could be so stupid? Oh, that's very hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, it beggars belief the level of stupidity which they can sink, though.
What editors you get
Well, there
done
you
for
go.
contempt of court?
At this point, it has to be said, I have been tried for contempt of court.
Right.
And I was found innocent by a particularly brilliant judge called Justice Popplewell. But sadly, the Attorney General appealed and I lost.
What did it mean, though? Did you have to pay... Were you fined, then?
I was fined £10,000.
Blimey.
Small fry.
For contempt. A fifth of an Angus, as it was known.
All right. Getting to like this now. And now currency. And lastly, Paul and Tracey.
It's cost of the election being postponed.
Oh, yes, yeah. Because of foot and mouth.
Yep. Well, they say that.
Do they?
Yeah, they say
You think it's another
foot and mouth.
story?
Probably. I just think Blair's losing it completely, actually.
What's that then, the will to live, or...?
No, let's just say not cool, all right?
He's not cool?
No, let's stick to
That's
that.
going to lose him a lot of votes. So which ones are cool? Which politicians would you rate cool?
Mo Molan. And if he was still in...
John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's cold.
Yeah.
We're going to keep cooler than that.
I think Blair's just getting a bit nervous.
You think so?
Yeah. And he's just used any old excuse to delay the election, really.
And the cost of the delay?
85 quid.
Well, see, the other one was 85 quid. I think it's chances of them both being 85 quid.
Tricky.
7 million.
All right. 7 million.
Ooh, higher,
OK.
higher.
Higher, do you go higher?
Higher, definitely higher than 7.
Higher.
It's got to be more than 7 million.
Yeah, we'll say, all right, let's say 15 then.
No, I said a bit higher.
Well, 15's higher than 7.
15 is higher than 7.
No, I meant
that's
higher than
safe.
15.
Oh, I see. Well, OK, well, let's say 16.
Yeah.
16 million.
OK, so let's reveal that figure.
No.
Ian and John. Yes, there's £9 million is the estimated cost to all three parties of delaying the election. The BBC has announced that it won't be covering the election as fully as last time, since their Campaign 97 broadcasts were a ratings flop. Although, to be fair, they were up against a cracking series of When Lap Dancers Attack on the other side. What's going to happen on the BBC?
We shall have a programme.
And do you stay up throughout the election night, then?
Certainly not. I have to go to bed.
Right.
Can't be doing with all that sort of folderol. I have a programme to do with the following morning. It's a life. My life's just bed and roses and...
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to offend in any way. Stay with us. Round 3 is where we out the odd one, just one per team this week, Ian and John. Your model citizens are Tony Blair, David Mellor, Keith Vaz and Caprice.
Yeah. There's an underwear connection here, isn't there? Because Caprice, when she's not as fully dressed as that, makes her living modelling underwear. David Mellor became terribly famous for wearing the
Ladies'
Chelsea
underwear.
strip in bed with his then lady love. Tony Blair is the only Prime Minister in recent times who has not, so far as we know, tucked his shirt into his underpants. So that leaves only Keith Vaz. I think you'll find that's the answer, Angus.
Right. Can I
just disown my teammate here?
Well, I think Tony Blair's auditioning for Blake, you know, on the buses.
I could give you a clue.
Go on.
It's something that none of us have done tonight.
Well,
That covers an awful lot of things, doesn't it?
it's easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Although Tracy's done it once before.
Fallen over on TV.
Walked out of television programme. Walked out.
I'll give you one for that. The answer is that they've all refused to take part in a TV or radio show. Blair refused to take part in a live election debate quite recently. David Mello walked out of a BBC radio show. Quite a few walk out.
They do. They do.
Is it true that Robin Cook has refused 41 times to come on today?
No, I really would like this on the record. He does go on television on Sundays.
Right.
On David Frost, so it's not as if he doesn't want to face the tough questions.
Yeah, but David... No, but David Frost is actually quite a gentleman.
Yes, he is. I agree with that.
Compared to you.
I quite agree.
The trouble is, we quite like people to be asked slightly tougher questions than Frost's. What did you have for breakfast? What's your favourite colour, Foreign Secretary?
Quite tricky if you didn't have breakfast.
Yeah.
I had a very bizarre moment. I went on the Frost show once. It was it's comedy store 15th anniversary or something, and it's breakfast with Frost, and there was a little light item at the end of the show. And Benazir Bhutto, you know, the former Prime Minister or President of Pakistan, was on the show. And she was being interviewed about sort of the situation in Pakistan. And afterwards there was a little breakfast thing, and David says, "Come and join us in the corner." Benazir, Benazir. And she said to me, "I have something I've always wanted to know." And I said, "What is that?" She says, "Why does everybody in this country hate Nicholas Parsons?"
The answer is they've all refused to take part in TV or radio interviews, except Keith Vaz, who collapsed in the middle of one. According to The Times, David Mello is grateful to the media for taking him in when he was forced to seek other outlets for my energies, as she's known. Paul and Tracy, your specialist subjects are Robbie Williams, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Landy and Nick Bateman.
Well, the clue here is Michael Landy, isn't it? That's the key, I think, really.
He's an installation artist.
Michael destroyed everything he's ever owned or possessed. 7,000 things which were listed. They did it on Oxford Street with a conveyor belt. Robbie Williams just recently auctioned everything.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, there probably has been an auction of all her possessions after she died.
Her swimsuit was auctioned.
That's right.
On Big Brother, they auctioned all the stuff from Big Brother, I think.
Including that
charity.
chair, I think.
So I'd say that Michael was the odd one out. Michael Landy was the odd one out for destroying everything and not selling it and being wild.
You were pretty close, actually, with your answer, but it's slightly more specific. The answer is that they've all had their beds sold.
Oh, you did. I would have got that right,
yes,
wouldn't
exactly.
you? Yeah. You should have had a picture of me, I'd have got it straight away, wouldn't I?
Well.
Yeah, but there's certain standards at this time of night.
During her brief but eventful life, Marilyn Monroe slept with Frank Sinatra, US President John F. Kennedy, baseball legend Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller. Kind of pisses on your tent, doesn't it, Tracy? Which soft sell means that at the end of this transaction, Ian and John can only dream, trailing as they do, 10-8. And so to the very real attraction of our final round. A number of headlines helpfully obliterated to aid confusion, including many, or indeed fewer, from this week's guest publication, the quite excellent Monkey Matters. So, eyes down, look in on £1,200 for laughing at what?
One of your jokes? Oh, no. Sorry.
No. Policeman's wig.
Policeman's wig is the right answer. Yes.
Oh.
Next, Haig cast as what in election advert?
Winner. It's ridiculous
It's
posters
slightly
that come
more
down.
ridiculous.
Bald.
Alien.
Alien is the right
it was,
answer.
yeah.
Yes.
Bald little alien, green.
Yeah. Next, should I spank my what?
Monkey.
Tomatoes.
Did you just say tomato?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Jamie Oliver recipe. Spank your tomatoes.
John was closer. In fact, he was bang on. Should I spank my monkey? Is from Monkey Matters.
No lateral thinking.
One of the forms of discipline, alternative forms of discipline for getting your monkeys in order are pinching their noses, apparently.
Yeah.
Or pinning. This is holding them down by their arms and repeating the word no. Course of action not recommended in the case of gorillas. Next, what to speak with English accent?
Prescott.
Oh, no!
The Queen.
The Queen.
Hugh Grant.
No, highly trained gibbon. Educated chimp. How do you do? Can I have a banana? I want to go to the toilet. Too late.
The answer is Stephen Hawking. And finally, can monkeys be what?
Kissed on the first
candidates.
Kissed on the first date.
BAFTA hosts.
Yeah. So you only have to pay them in peanuts, which makes a bit of a change.
No, toilet trained is the answer.
There we are.
Oh, no wonder we wouldn't get that.
According to Monkey Matters, sometimes monkeys learn toilet training by imitation, but don't hold your breath. All of which, wild conjecture, means that at the end of tonight's foot-in-mouth disaster, this week's load of old bullocks are Ian and John with 11, whilst this week's sacred cows are Paul and Tracey with 12. But before we send them packing, the excess baggage that is our caption competition...
It's the Nutcracker suite.
Oh, it's got to be a jokey caption, hasn't it?
I think so, rather than sort of like the man in the blue shirt at the back saying to the man in the white shirt, I just bought a car. It could be the bloke sitting at the desk saying, hello, someone's nicked my typewriter. Oh, there it is. Here's the bloke standing up just saying, I've just remembered where I parked my bike.
On which...
And the time is now 6 o'clock.
On which relentless note we say thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and John Humphries, Paul Merton and Tracey Emin. And I leave you with news that at London Zoo, the new tapas bar launches its 50p lunchtime special. After the Buddha sculptures are blown up by the Taliban, there's an awkward moment for an Afghan sculptor as he unveils his replacement. And in Westminster, there's an embarrassing moment as Mo Molam realises where she's posted her pool's coupon. Good night.